Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure beholding such an amazing audience. I'm going to speak to you today on Indian Armed Forces and Enigma. Indian Armed Forces, as you may be aware, are today the most revered, venerated, regarded, respected, and loved armed force anywhere in the world. And as far as India is concerned, it is the guardian angel of India's homogeneity and integrity. The transformation from pre-independence to post-independence has been monumental and staggering. And I will share with you as to how this transformation has come about. Prior to independence, it was a weak, listless army, and because of its being weak and listless, we suffered ignominy of defeat for full 1,000 years. India was the only nation of this size and dimension which was plundered, ravaged and savaged, shamed and maimed by virtually at will by raiders from across the western borders and from the sea by the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French and the British. Muhammad Ghazni came time and again with just a few hundred horsemen, and every time took back with him tons of silver and gold. Our menfolk were slaughtered. The Indian armies were weak and were roundly beaten each and every time. Post-independence, ladies and gentlemen, we fought 5 wars. As far as Pakistan per se is concerned, we fought a war in 1948, 65, 71 and 99. Each and every time, Pakistan stood humbled, bewildered and shocked at the licking that he got at the hands of the Indian Army. In 1965, he was better prepared, better armed. His Air Force had the latest state of aircraft at that point of time, the F-10 starfighters of the United States, the Super Sabres and the Sabres. And what did we have on our side? World War II vintage Canberras, Vampires, Tufanis and Mysteers. As far as tanks were concerned, he had the latest tanks in the world, the famous M47 and M48 Patton tanks. And what did we have? Defunct Centurions, Shermans and Stuarts. As far as artillery was concerned, we were both outgunned. He had a range of 20 kilometers, our artillery had a range of only 11 kilometers. And we were outnumbered. That notwithstanding, we bet the daylight out of him. What is it that mattered? The man behind the machine. The Indian soldier had greater grit, greater morale, and finest leadership behind him that the world could have thought about. As far as the 71 war is concerned, he had a great advantage. He hit us by surprise by carrying out a preemptive strike against 12 of our frontline airfields. That notwithstanding, the Indian Army inflicted the greatest defeat on any nation in the history of warfare. Flat 14 days, a new nation called Bangladesh came into being. 93,000 Pakistani soldiers surrendered to the Indian Army despite having a wherewithal to last out for another 6 months. There can you, and as far as the Indian Army is concerned, the world was absolutely stunned. The compassion, the discipline, the character and integrity displayed by the Indian soldier was something that the world has never seen. Gentlemen, throughout that war, there was not a single case of rape or loot by the Indian Army. Unparalleled in the annals of warfare anywhere. All armies that have gone into other nations have done large-scale plundering, loot and rape and molestation, but for the Indian Army. In the 1999 Kargil war, we had to contend with a deceitful enemy, a tortuous terrain and horrendous environment. Incidentally, yours truly, who speaking to you, have had the pleasure of being in that area for close to 4 years. The temperature was minus 10 degrees to minus 20 degrees centigrade. Winds were howling at 40 nautical miles. The wind chill effect was around minus 60 to minus 70 degrees. The slopes, he was very well prepared. His defenses were robust. The slopes leading to them were the most tortuous slopes that you could think of. 30 degrees at the base, going up to 75 degrees on top. But the brave soldier and the brave officer of the Indian Army, without bothering a fig about their personal safety, vanquished him and ensured that our flag flies beautifully on Tiger Hill. This gentleman is the armed forces that I had the pleasure of being integrating with for full 40 years. I was part of the Indian Army for 41 years. During this 41 years of my involvement with the Indian Army, except for the 1948 war, I was there in 62 as a cadet. I fought 65, 71, 99, and I've been involved in insurgency and anti-insurgency operations close to 25 years. And today I'm standing in front of you as tough as any of the youngsters sitting opposite me. That's what the Indian Army is all about. I also had the opportunity in serving in those areas where daily survival is something that is seen to be believed. You've all seen the Siachen thing recently. I served in Siachen, I've served in Kargil, and I've served in North Hikkan. In addition, I've served in searing heats, temperatures going up to 50 degrees centigrade in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Gentlemen, the Indian Army officer always and every time leads from the front. We have a most enviable motto that any country has in the world. And that reads as under: the honor, safety and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. The honor, welfare and the comfort of your men under your command come next. Your own honor, your own ease, welfare and comfort and safety come last, always and every time. And we've always and every time kept that in mind. The Indian Armed Forces live like a family. We draw people of all color, all caste, all creed, all region, all religions. Yet while the world is being torn asunder, Indian Army today stands out as an example of harmony and secularism. I will show you or indicate to you few examples which will indicate to you the type of bonding that exists between the Indian Army officer or the Armed Forces officer and the men that they under command. The first incident dates back to 1974. I was in command of a helicopter unit at Srinagar. One day, well after the pack-up time, we got a message that 8 of our soldiers were critically injured by a sudden unprovoked firing by the Pakistanis in the Gurez sector. Those of you who may or may not know, Jammu and Kashmir, Gurez lies 150 kilometers northeast of Srinagar, thick forests and mountainous area. In that, this mission now involved night flying in an area where no flying is permitted after 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Because of exceptionally treacherous weather, the helicopter is thrown around like a piece of paper, with the pilot being reduced to a mere spectator. The army commander moved in from Udhampur and he said, I want volunteers to undertake this mission. Both the flight commanders, General Sehgal and Colonel Thadani, volunteered. He was a bachelor. I had 2 daughters, 3 years and about 14 days. That was there. Both of us held the highest instrument rating that any pilot can obtain in the world, Master Green. We both volunteered. By the time we reached Gurez, the entire area was engulfed in total pitch darkness. We could not spot the place where our casualties were. So we requested our troops to give us some sort of an indication by firing a colored smoke so that we could be homed in. The moment the colored smoke was fired, the Pakistanis smelled a kill and started intense shelling backed up by unbelievable, horrendous machine gun fire. Mission was absolute an impossibility. Colonel Thadani was junior to me, I was the mission commander. Asked me, PK, what are the orders? And I said, we very strongly believe in the Shakespearean dictum. Cowards die many times before their death. The valiant never taste of death but once. I said, I am going in. And when I was going in, I assure you, thousands of bullets were flying left and right. You could see the tracers going past you. His reply was equally brusque. PK, leave space for me, I am following. We could lift only 4 casualties at a time because the helicopters could not pick up more than 2 lying casualties at a time. So we had to make a second effort the same night to pick up the remaining. And that mission became even more riskier. All that notwithstanding, by around 10 o'clock, we were successful in evacuating our people and took them back to the hospital in Srinagar. This bonding that I spoke to you through the first incident, I will give you 2 more incidents. The second incident happened in a place called Bana Post. This was one post that we could not take from Pakistan for years to come. One fine night, taking just about 30 people with him, Subedar Banna Singh, who were recognized with a Paramveer Chakra, attacked that post through absolute and total daredevilry, managed to throw the enemy out. When his company commander reached on top, one of the place on top was perhaps just about 4 feet to 5 feet by 5 feet. One of the men slid, fell into the enemy territory while the shelling and firing was on. That time the company commander had only 3 people who were alive and not injured with him. Without caring a fig for his personal safety, the company commander slides behind that person, and after a gruesome struggle lasting 4 hours, he managed to retrieve this boy called Sipahi Bhup Singh. And I had the opportunity of running into him 1 month after the incident. Both his arms had been amputated because of frostbite. Yet his morale was sky high for only one reason. He said, I was very, very certain that even at the cost of his personal safety and death, my company commander will make every effort to recover me. I got a request that our post is at 10 meters from Pakistan. Visibility is almost nil. 2 of our boys are very critically injured, need immediate helicopter evacuation. There is loose snow 175 feet in the valley. No road, no track, no helipad exists. Imagine 175 feet loose snow, no helipad, no road, no track exists, and the post is only 10 meters from Pakistan. To cut the story short, the fact that I am standing in front of you, I recovered both those people. This innate bonding between us and our men is visible almost on a daily basis in our engagements in anti-insurgency operations with the Pakis in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab and the Northeast virtually on a daily basis. While terrorists and jihadis are creating mayhem all over the world, it is the Indian army who killing them by the dime on a daily basis. I wish to tell you that we are one armed force who has participated in a maximum way in peacekeeping missions across the globe. Every nation where we've gone in, the Indian army stands apart vis-a-vis anybody at their army. Every officer in this army, irrespective of his rank, has a very major responsibility on his shoulders. A slight mistake can be a catastrophe for him, the country and the troops. Just to give you an example, a battalion commander has approximately 1,000 men under his command. He has arsenal worth several hundred crore rupees and financial resources. As far as the naval captain is concerned, I'm talking of captain and equivalent. As far as the naval commander is concerned, he commands a ship which costs anything between 1,000 crore to 15,000 crores and has similar power at his disposal. So can you imagine at a young age of 35 to 40 years, in any other profession that you can dream of, having such amazing responsibility, authority and power over the humankind? And yet, what is most unfortunate is that in spite of having a population of 1.25 billion people, for last 30 years, Indian Army continues to be deficient of around 12 to 15,000 officers in the rank of captain and major. Gentlemen, these young boys and girls constitute the core cutting edge of any nation. And such a huge deficiency at this level can be catastrophic for the nation. What we today getting, firstly, two people are responsible for this. The government of India, that is the bureaucrats, continuously one pay commission, the second pay commission, the third pay commission, and thereafter have continuously lowered and degraded the status of the Indian Armed Forces. Despite the fact that the people of the country realize that the only institution that is holding the country together, holding its image, is the Indian Army. And there has been no murmur from the population. And second thing is the young children sitting opposite me. We in the armed forces need young boys and young girls, young men and young women with the highest qualities of head and heart, as against people who taking up armed forces as a career of last resort. India today has an historic opportunity. Great opportunities are opening up. 10 years from today, we could be not amongst the top contenders, we could be the mightiest army that the world has ever seen. The difference is, will we get the right type of material? Because I indicated you what is the type of responsibility in this officer. We need the right quantum and the right type of officer in terms of young women and young men to come forward and join the armed forces. In stark contrast to any other profession, army is a way of life. It entails a discipline and commitment which is absolutely sacrosanct and unquestionable. It requires dedicating your life to the cause of the nation. And I want you to bring about this change. I am looking forward to all the young boys and girls sitting in this auditorium, and through you to the others, to the harbingers of this change, to usher in a contagion effect and take the Indian nation where it ought to have been long many years back. Thank you very much, TEDx. I enjoyed speaking to you.